Welcome home, Bitcoin truth seekers. It is a glorious Thursday, April 6th, 10:14 a.m. here in the Arizona desert. As always, at BitcoinDailyView.com, got more for you there. Let's rock through this. So, volume this morning, sorry, just had a big gulp of dry protein powder. Volume this morning is 2.8 billion last 24 hours, and that is not very much. So very, very low Bitcoin trading volume. I mean, really, really low. Wrecked the last hour, not even a million. And last 24 hours, $56 million in wrecks. So basically liquidations extraordinarily low. So I would say there's just not much happening. Looking at the crypto universe in squares today, we got some green, got some red, kind of a mix. The day's starting, I think, to pick up. Bitcoin has gotten above 28,000. That's really nice. Looking at FinViz here, the traditional indexes are crazy today. Traditional index, the Dow is up 0.04, NASDAQ 0.51, S&P 500 0.25. In general, they opened, they took off. Those are kind of small percent numbers for crypto, but for these big indexes, that's kind of a big deal. So they opened nice and green, and they are moving up. Looking at the S&P 500, though, so far, not really many dark green or bright green sectors. So other than healthcare, S&P 500 is kind of just loping along, but at least slightly up today. Now, looking at dollar strength index today, we are in the red. So dollar strength index definitely came in. It's challenged in the top of this downwards channel that it's been in. I guess it didn't quite. If we adjust this, we can kind of say, maybe it really should be like this. So anyway, it did wick above this downwards channel, but it did try to wick above it today. So far, it has not happened. So we'll see what happens. But it was a green day yesterday. Today, this is quite a unpredictable doji. It could end up closing green or red today, but so far it's a red day for the DXY. So dollar strength index kind of sideways, slightly negative. Oil. There's been a lot of talk of oil pumping recently, and it did. As you can see, though, this is a daily chart, and it was a perfect swing trade for many people doing oil spot or futures or whatever. Just beautiful swings up and down, very, very predictable. And you can kind of see that this range here, the top they sold, the bottom they bought. It definitely dumped below the bottom, which probably was kind of hard on some oil futures and things like that oil futures or oil spot that people were into. But anyway, it did rebound, and even though it was kind of drastic looking at the gas pumps and seeing the price go up recently, as far as, oil going to hit $100 a barrel again. It very well may, but it appears that it's finding resistance at previous highs. So basically the top of the range that it's been working. It's not above the 200 moving average on the daily. So I think that we'll see what happens. In Saudi Arabia cutting their output and other geopolitical situations that we have going on. Definitely, gird your loins, be ready for something like that to happen. But at least right now, it does appear that it stopped. It did pump for sure, but it has stopped at a previous high where we would expect it. So my guess is, unless the Western governments, basically our own, is probably more than any other, can come up with some other incredibly dumbass thing to do geopolitically, we're probably just going to range again. So I wouldn't sweat it too much, at least from what we can see right now in the charts. If we had gone up and broken the top of this range that we were in before, hit the 200, gotten above that, found support, and we're still moving up, then I definitely would be thinking, okay, who knows? Then, in my opinion, we'd really be in a price discovery mode at that point. All right, so with that said, looking at S&P 500, well, here on this chart, the daily, we are seeing a green candle. Hopefully we can hold this 314 moving average, stay above that. It would be glorious. And one thing I wanted to note about the S&P 500, what are we seeing here? A W pattern with an upwards tilt, which oftentimes means win. So there you go. Maybe it's going to bounce off that 314 and really get crazy. I'm really, really totally fine with that if so. Of course, if the economy is recovering, when the Fed sees that, they'll be sure to raise interest rates and butt hammer everything, because they're a-holes. Anyway, with that said, looking at Bitcoin today, not an extraordinary day in the charts, other than the fact that we got above 28,000 again. We're sideways. We are working on kind of breaking the sideways action that we've got. Yeah, Bitcoin's been ranging for a while sideways, in my opinion, and we'll see. Daily chart in the red, but it's above the 200 and the 314 moving average. All is looking kind of good. We'll also look at the daily chart and see if how the MACD is looking on the daily, because that would actually be kind of a big deal if it was tangenting positive. Gold, red day today, but it's been on a rocket ship to Pluto recently, so I wouldn't worry about it. You got to retrace a little bit after a move like that. So anyway, gold way above previous high. Things doing incredible. As a matter of fact, if I was to grab this ray, really, here's the previous high now. So gold, rocket ship to Pluto. Silver, doing great. I think it's going to keep support, actually stay above that previous high that it's broken above once again. We'll see how it goes. But gold and silver on fire recently. I like it. It makes sense to me. All right. Like I say, very, very low trading volume. Really we're just not seeing much happening today. Not a lot of wrecks one way or the other. So basically volume is low, extraordinarily low, and I think that's got people being a little bit careful with their longs and shorts. They just don't have enough traction to really confidently put $1 million into a long or a short. Looking at spot trading pairs, top 20 exchanges, mostly in the red. So kind of low spot trading basically right now. Derivatives, what do we got? 37 billion in derivatives. So longs versus longs and shorts with leverage on Binance. That's down 20% last 24 hours. People are slowing down big time this week. And I think this is a holiday weekend, right? Easter, that might be why. So be watchful. We might definitely see some low volume, which of course means crazy volatility opportunities for big money to sway the market. Looking at Bitcoin in the top 100, Bitcoin coming in at 28,107. I like it. In general, the top 100 kind of neutral, but we're getting a nice green move with a lot of them. I kind of like that. It isn't just a few that are really pumping for whatever reason. EOS looking good. NEO looking good. Maker looking good. Radix looking good. So in general, we're getting some nice moves here. Wouldn't surprise me if today keeps going towards the positive, especially if Bitcoin stays happy. Looking at longs versus shorts sentiment on Binance, 53% long, 46% short. So long bias. Bitcoin versus USDT, 45-minute chart on Binance. As you can see, let me fire up a 4-hour chart real quick here. 4-hour chart. What's nice about this is, 4-hour chart, we're above the 200 moving average on 314. We're just kind of sideways. I mean, if we look here, basically, we're rolling into this weekend. It's a holiday weekend. And, sorry about that. And Bitcoin is sideways. And my guess is, especially with that low volume, you might see some swing traders coming in here and trying to do action like this. Sell that top. Sorry about that. Boom. Sell that top, and then of course come down here. Sorry guys, I probably shouldn't waste time just sitting here playing with my little colored boxes. But in general, this is what I think. This is kind of what I think is going on here. Let me make this one here gray so it looks right. Gray. So there we go. Let me fix this guy here. So pretty much I think that's what we're kind of seeing. We're just seeing a range that's sideways. It's a great swing. Right now, recently, it hasn't been too good of a swing unless you tighten this range up a little bit more. But in general, there we are. In my opinion, we're just kind of ranging sideways. This is a 4-hour chart, so it shows a little bit of time, so you can kind of actually see what's going on. So we'll kind of see what happens. I really can't do a channel other than a sideways channel. I wish I could kind of get an upwards channel going here, or even a downwards channel, but it just really is sideways. So right now, we recently bounced the top of it, so we'll see what happens next. Now, if I actually was to expand this out a little bit, let's look a little bit closer here at this 4-hour chart, and let's look at the Keltner bands. There you go. You can see we're right in the middle. So what do you do? And also if we look at the 4-hour chart, this squeeze indicator here, it shows we are in a squeeze right now and have been for a while. Directional index is in the red, but trending towards the green. And of course, if we look at volume, volume obviously has been going towards the potty side, so it's going down. So anyway, what's Bitcoin going to do? I don't know, but I can definitely say with this lack of volume, it makes it real easy for the big money to get in there and push it. So just watch out for crazy volatility that might happen, which will wreck longs and shorts, or just one or the other, or whatever. You're not going to know exactly what's going to happen if we get massive sudden volatility spikes, because, well, you got to be on that conference call, or on Elon's WhatsApp pump and dump group list, allegedly. So anyway, there you have it. Bitcoin 4-hour chart. You can kind of see it clearly. We're just straight up sideways. Looking at the 45-minute chart, for very, very immediate price action. What I would like to see, honestly, if we look here at the 45-minute chart, I am seeing that the squeeze indicator is beginning to, round towards the positive. Directional index is ultimately moving towards the positive, but it's still in the red. Volume not very impressive. But here on the 45-minute chart, we are looking like we're trying to make a 314 bounce, get above that 200. We had a bit of a rally this morning, but we haven't really kept that upwards momentum. So let's just see what happens. If I was to look at an hourly, it might show us a little bit more. Hourly chart, yeah, even on the hourly in the 45-minute are between the 300 and the 200 and the 314. And personally, I find that to be on the hourly chart or the 45-minute chart to be between the 200 and the 314 is, in general, I consider that to be a flaccid place to be, which usually is not going to be powerful. That's usually more bearish than bullish, in my opinion. So Bitcoin sideways and flaccid. So there you go. Not too exciting there. Is there anything else really to look at? Let's look at Doge. It has been a little bit crazy recently. Let me get rid of all this craziness. Oh, we're missing something. We didn't look at something rather. Yeah, no, we did. No, I'm sorry. Here we did. We looked at that. Doge. How you looking here? Oh, and Bitcoin on the daily, real quick. Doge. Wow, it looks just like Bitcoin, doesn't it? Kind of, in a way, a little bit. Doge. This is hard to play. 45-minute chart. Squeeze indicators kind of negative. Directional index is quite in the red. I think, I would not put it past Doge to run again. Volume basically has left the building. Volume, gone. How's it look on the daily chart? Actually, before we look at that though, let's look at a fib sequence here. I'm gonna go right here to here. And what do we got? All right. This is kind of interesting. Looking at a fib sequence here on the 45-minute chart, we did pump. We came down. It kind of is, honestly, looking kind of good. It's kind of respecting these fib levels. You can see some traction there, and especially very importantly right here, the .5. But then also look at this. Whoa, that's pretty darn amazing. 618 bounce, perfect wick down to it. So it would not surprise me if we saw a move from here. So I'm going to watch this thing. If I wanted to do, here's my crazy trade of the weekend, right? Or moving towards the weekend. Crazy trade is this. That 618 balance is quite interesting. If I was nuts, I'm not even saying do this. I'm just saying, but it does match the 45-minute. The 45-minute 200 right there pretty well. It's almost 200 moving average balance. So if I want it to be nuts, like I say, not at all financial advice on this one. I'm this is just crazy talk, right? But I would put if I was to buy right now, I would put a stop right at that 618. I mean, real tight. Is that very good? What is that one? Profit loss ratio 5, risk reward 5.0. So you've got a stop loss. The worst you could do is lose 3%, but you could make 16% if it got back to that recent high, or even got back to like maybe 9%. I don't know. For me personally, I think I'd probably maybe put it right here in that 200. Anyway, it's all about if you think it's going to start moving up. It's just one to watch. Twitter still has the little Doge logo. Just saying, crazy trade. But if it has done a 618 wick bounce and is moving up, I mean, if you got faith in this thing, if you think it's possible, I mean, weekend's coming, long weekend, long holiday weekend. There's a 15-minute chart. I mean, how does this chart look to you? Let's look at some indicators here. The squeeze indicators moving towards the positive in the 15-minute. Directional index is getting ready to turn green. No incredible volume really to see right now. Really, it's all about, do you think that is going to happen? Let's actually nix the ATR zone. One to watch, just one to watch. Could this be a bounce spot for it? On the 15-minute, it's below the 200 moving average. So maybe, I maybe would watch this thing to actually get back above the 200 moving average on the 15, which is the 382, find a bounce, find support, and keep moving. Then for sure, maybe I will be back in this thing. Anyway, guys, it's a crazy ass trade. I'm a little bit delirious. I'm just saying, Doge, for what it's worth, maybe that thing's going to do something. SHIB versus USDT, 15-minute chart is pushing that 200. How's the 45 look? This is interesting to me because SHIB, like I say, SHIB is everything Doge will never be. But SHIB, check this action out here. Look at that. So SHIB, you've got this sort of, got some upwards momentum here. You got lower highs coming in, the lower high, lower high, lower high. I like that. It recently it pumped when Doge pumped. It's given a lot back, and look where it's bouncing. That 200 moving average. You're seeing a balance there. It did wick down to the 314. It did spend time in the between the 200 and the 314, which I call it the flaccid pocket. And it got out of there, and now it's finding support in that 200. Let's see what happens. I mean, looking at this guy here, the squeeze indicator beginning to turn positive, directional index beginning to turn positive, got a 200 moving bounce happening on the 45. That's kind of interesting. Could this guy find some momentum and go? Now, if I was crazy today, if I was out of my mind, looking to do some kind of, zealous thing, that's an interesting trade right there. I'd get in and I put my stop right below that 200. This is either going to happen or not. And I figure we're probably going to at least get to, sorry about that. We're probably going to get to this previous high, I imagine. That's 2-3%. I mean, it's not too exciting. Anyway, guys, it's not really an exciting trade. It might move, it might move. We'll just see what happens. If Doge pumps, SHIB will pump, probably. They're in the same pack of dogs, basically. Anyway, what else is there? Let's see. Is there anything else kind of worth checking out here as far as Bitcoin, the top 100? Who's really interesting? Let's see. Neo, EOS, Maker, Caspa, Radix, XRD, Maker, MKR. Let's look at MKR. MKR, USDT. You can play it on Binance or KuCoin. That's good. So mostly everybody has access to it. I like this. This is good, but it's so extended now. Squeeze indicator looking great. Directional index looking great. ADX starting to roll over. Watch for a retrace here. But that's a 45-minute chart. Well, let's look at a 4-hour chart. This might be interesting. Yeah. Somewhere in the past, I was looking at that fib level. Sorry. Let's clear that out. Interesting. Look at that 4-hour chart. Look how long this thing's been in a squeeze. It's nuts. Look at that squeeze. And it's beginning to turn green out of that squeeze. And directional index is in the green. ADX is turning up. EDX is still kind of low though. Where's it at? Like 16, and especially when it hits that mid-range around 20, 24, 25. Like let it get to at least 20 or so. You know what? I'm watching this one. The 4-hour chart, I tell you, if we break above that 200, not 314, that might be kind of groovy. Madrid ribbons, the super guppy indicators, all the EMAs are green now. This thing's starting to move. I like it. How's that 45-minute chart look? 45-minute looks good. You know, I like to catch him down here, really, you know, like I like to get him around there, not way up here. But this is darn interesting. I don't know what to do with it. It's kind of a hard trade. That's kind of extended. We're a little bit, if we look here, you can kind of see where we are a little ways from the moving 8 average. I think we're probably going to see a bit of a retrace, but I definitely would be watching for that W pattern. We might see it. Bonk, 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 win. You know? So I'm going to keep an eye on Maker. I'm not quite ready to get in, but I think definitely it could be a play today. Watch out if it starts moving. It will probably find a bit of resistance at that 4-hour 200 moving average. Definitely could see that happen. So just watch out. Definitely, because I think if it does run, this is probably where we're going to see our first resistance here. Is that they had 200 on the 4-hour chart. So just beware, be ready. But this 4-hour chart does look like it's getting ready to take off. I mean, I almost kind of just want to put an alert here for the 200 for it to break the 200 on the 4-hour chart. And if it does, depending on how it does, I mean, if it breaks straight above the 200, I'm sorry about that. If it breaks above the 200 and 314 comes down and tests and keeps going, that's going to be really hot. What I'm worried about in the 4-hour chart is that if it breaks above the 200, it might just go into the flaccid zone between the 200 and the 314. And if it stays there very long, that's probably going to be bearish, and that'll be it. So anyway, guys, let's just see what happens. I'm definitely watching this one. Maker versus USDT is a definitely could be a play today. Anyway, and now for fun, as we wrap things up, let's look at some fun news. A while ago, like a good number of years ago. Oh crud! What did I touch? I hit a button. Come on, come back. Ugh. Here we are. Thank heavens. FDR, FDR's other day of infamy when the U.S. government seized all citizens' gold. 90 years ago, Franklin Roosevelt told Americans they had less than a month to hand over their gold or face up to 10 years in prison. So anyway, this is a good article, and it gets into that this really happened. FDR, he's honestly not one of my favorite presidents. I know a lot of people like him, but I think that there's a lot to look at. I'll put that in the live chat, the link for this. Sorry, gosh. Hope I don't have to like stop the stream early here. Anyway, I'll keep going. I'm trying to think of the guy who wrote Retreat from Victory. Okay, I'll try to survive to the end of this. All right. Retreat from Victory. The guy who wrote that book. If you've never read it, it's actually really worth checking out. If I go to Amazon here, who wrote that? You're gonna probably be like, what? Yeah, McCarthy. McCarthy was not a great guy. He was a power hungry nut, but somebody was feeding him some info. And we did have a lot of commies running around, right? So he destroyed a lot of lives, was not necessarily a good guy. But if you've ever actually read this book, and it's boring and it's long, but Retreat from Victory by McCarthy, if you do, before you flame it, there's a lot in this, and there's an incredible if he's right, FDR is maybe not the greatest guy that you might think he is. Sorry. All right, now I'll keep going. So with that said, Um, but FDR did. So anyway, I put that in the live chat, and why I'm sharing that is just beware. We have the Restrict Act coming out that they're pushing right now. It's supposedly to take out TikTok, but it's basically a Patriot Act, 2.0. It's just not good. And some of the things that they want to do in that they will try to push, just beware, because I could see version 2.0 of this might be coming. So anyway, not to like scare anybody. I'm just saying this is something to revisit and just think about what happened, think about what's happening now, and just beware. Could this happen today? Probably not in the same way, but just know that I know that many people kind of poo-poo what I'm saying, but the Restrict Act, if you look at it, they want to they want to make basically using a VPN a felony. If you were to hook to like Binance with it. So just saying, beware. Okay, so I'll keep cruising. The Civilian Conservation Corps in Arizona, something FDR did do. So I don't just flame him, to be balanced. Okay, one of the things he did do during the Great Depression, he made the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps, and like here in Arizona where I'm at, these guys were tough. I mean, with a wheelbarrow, shovel, mixing cement, they had, lie with them, old stake trucks they were moving around in. I mean, these were tough guys, and they made tremendous irrigation to help with flooding. And I mean, these guys did tremendous work here in creating national parks and stuff. I mean, these got creating areas that people could go. We have roads from like down here in Phoenix all the way to like Sedona and such that they made that are still there now. I mean, they're really kind of more 4x4 paths than roads at this point, but back in the day they were a big deal. So these were tough men. They made $30 a month. 25 went sent to their family. They got 5, and these were amazing characters. And so sorry, FDR did some things right. And here in Arizona, down in Phoenix, you can see a statue dedicated to these guys. They had wool pants and a wool hat, and that's pretty much it. And they were out there doing some badass stuff. And look at this. These guys would load up in the morning, go out with wheelbarrows, shovels, very little actually construction equipment, and make roads. And like that they made, they're still there today. I mean, amazing irrigation ditches. They kind of would move the streams around a little bit. They really helped to manage the flooding that was going on. These guys did amazing stuff. I mean, you wake up in the morning, eat your food, go out, and these guys were amazing. It's a different time. Tough men, badasses. Civilian corporations, help. Here's another picture of these guys. The little uniform, I think they really were wool pants and a cool little hat that they had. And these guys would roll out, and I mean, wheelbarrow and a shovel and a pick all day, making huge ditches, making the streams more functional up here in Arizona. Like I say, they kind of channel the water. Also, I got some pictures sometime and have to like share them with everybody here because these guys did amazing stuff up there, and they did it with shovels, man. These are badasses, Anyway, so there you go. That's the big Bitcoin daily view for today. So to all you Bitcoin truth seekers and all you ghosts of the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps, that are still here today, keeping Arizona cities down here in Scottsdale and Phoenix from being washed into the rivers when it rains, thank you for being optimistic like these guys were in America's future and the world's future. So keep stacking those sats. Every Bitcoin Satoshi you own is a statement of belief. It is a prayer. It is the most optimistic assertion you can make that there is a beautiful future for this country, even if they try to do crap like FDR did back in the day, seizing gold. They ain't getting our Bitcoin, by golly, out of my cold dead hands. Take care.